So, guys, many years ago, this guy I used to work with, he said to me, Papa John's pizza is better than Domino's. And I'd never tried a Papa John's pizza. And until last night, I never had. But now I have. And I can say he's wrong.
You talking shit?
I, I, I bought this Papa John's pizza last night. The only really cool thing about it was it had a pepperoni stuffed crust.
How does that? Wait, what? So the actual crust had pepperoni inside it?
And cheese. So it's a stuffed crust with pepperoni as well. That was
Oh,
the
okay.
only interesting thing that Papa John's pizza do. The actual pizza, I got basically a Meteora from that you can get from Domino's. Yeah, this did not. If this is meant to be the same as on the same level as Domino's, it's like that meme, doubt. Like this was like I don't want to say it was a bad. It was a I didn't like this pizza. It was fine, but for the money I spent on it, I could have spent that exact same amount of money on a better pizza from Domino's. I was
Are they
like,
literally the exact same price?
yeah, it pretty much was the exact same price.
Or like 18 quid for a large? Is it
Well,
something like that?
well, you get the deal. It basically cuts it in half. So I think I paid because I had to pay like a premium for the pepperoni stuffed crust. I think I paid like £14, something like that. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. Yeah, okay, it's what it is, but I'll try it since I've never tried Papa John's pizza. And yeah, I am not going back.
It's funny that you did a cold opener about pizza because when so no, honestly, this is fucking true. I went out. I think it was Friday after work. I went out, just went to get some food shopping, went to get birthday stuff for my sister and stuff. But part of my freezer was just like, oh, we need to get more stuff for the freezer. So I went out to Iceland, got chicken wings and stuff like that. And in Iceland, they've got this like. There's a freezer which is like, oh, sort of that leftover stuff on Christmas, which they're now discounting.
Yeah.
So I managed to pick up like a pack of like tiger prawns for like £1. We picked up some like mini cornettos for like £2 or whatever. And also in this freezer was a massive chest of Lewis Capaldi pizzas.
Right.
So they're in like this massive yellow box, and they only come in one flavor. It's just like I think it's called a sexy cheese, or the sexy cheesy one, something like that. And it was £5 down to £2.50. So I was just like, I can't argue with £2.50 for a massive cheese pizza. So I bought the cheese pizza, took it home on the bus, started to defrost halfway on the bus on the bus home, but nah, it can't be helped. As soon as we got home, Lacey opened up the pizza and the pizza was just broken, almost as if someone's basically just like punched it. It was just like in fragments. But it was actually a surprisingly nice pizza for £2.50. Like, yeah, it's not on like Domino's or in terms of like home frozen brand. Like it doesn't compare to Chicago Towns. It doesn't compare to like the pizza company stuff, but it was still actually a fairly decent, just plain cheese pizza. It wasn't stuffed crust or anything, but it was just quite nice. So yeah, funny you should open about pizza because I also had a different pizza today as well, this weekend as well.
Well, I will always remember that conversation with that old workmate who was like, "No, I don't like Domino's. I prefer Papa John's." And I'd never tried it, and I was like, every time I was like, "Oh, should I?" And like, no, Domino's. And then last night I was like, "No, I'm going to try Papa John's pizza. Let's see what it's like." And as I said, I'm never going back. I don't think. Oh,
Right, right. I was gonna say I've got something for you as well. So one of the worst pizzas I've ever had. I went to Wellingborough and it was a restaurant around the Russian area, and I can't remember the name of the place, but I asked for just like a meaty pizza, and then what came was this pizza that was burnt. It was like the pizza base was like wafer thin, crumbly, and it was just one of the worst experiences ever. And I think it was like a £15 pizza, but it's just the fact that this base was just. It was so thin. And I'm just like, how is this supporting the weight of the pizza? I don't understand. It just wouldn't work. So, what's the worst pizza you've had? And also, same question to you, Chris. What's the worst you've had?
You know what? I don't think I've ever had a bad pizza. I don't think such a thing exists. What I will say, though, is am I the only one that doesn't really know any difference between any of the pizza places? Because I have it so infrequently, like once every 6 months tops. And I couldn't tell the difference if I had a Domino's or Papa John's or anything. A pizza's a pizza. Oh, nice. I don't know. You were on about Papa John's. The first thing that springs to mind when you hear the word Papa John's for me is scandal. Because have you ever seen the timeline of like what the founder of Papa John's has done to like sabotage his own company? The guys are frugal.
No. I'm not like like as I said, like I didn't think the pizza was bad, but it's like I would have much preferred going to like Tesco, Co-op, Asda and getting a pizza from there. I would have much more enjoyed that pizza from a supermarket than the Papa John's. Like on like how I'd rank pizzas, Papa John's has just gone from a question mark to the bottom of the barrel. That is how I feel after last night.
I know that Domino's Pizzas gets a lot of bad reviews, but again, can't really say myself.
I wouldn't be surprised, but at the end of the day, I think I've only had like one experience with Domino's that was bad. Otherwise, near enough, it's always been fine. I think my one time they basically forgot my order and they had to. I don't know how, but they just did it. They just made me another order and there we go. But I was waiting for like over an hour. It was ridiculous. But...
Well, I think we can all agree on one thing, can't we?
What's that?
And that's that pineapple does definitely belong on pizza.
It definitely does not belong on pizza.
Definitely does.
It definitely does not.
It does.
Oh,
Hawaiians my pizza of choice.
Oh no. Well, I'm sorry, Chris. It's 2 against 1.
No, this is why I say I've never had a bad pizza, because I always have a Hawaiian. Yeah.
I know, because you always just have bad pizzas.
Oh no. Oh.
This intro is over.
Welcome to Victory Achieved Podcast, video game podcast. I am Dan, and I'm with Brandon and Chris.
Wagwan Mandems.
Hello, I like pineapple on pizza.
Fuck off.
Well, you are the only one of us that does The Last of Us. Oh yeah, that's the thing. You watched The Last of Us, haven't you, Chris?
I have, yes. At time of recording, there's only been one episode out. In fact, today, when we're recording, there is another episode out. But I'm too busy doing this to watch it. So yeah, The Last of Us. Obviously, it is based on the Naughty Dog game of the same name. It stars Pedro Pascal. It stars Pedro Pascal as Joel and someone else who isn't Joel. I don't know any of the actors' names. Can you tell?
Don't blame you.
Yeah. I think most of them are new to it. Bella Ramsey. She plays Ellie, which I have no idea what she's been in.
Game of Thrones.
Is in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, she was like the little girl who appeared, and everyone was like, "Yeah, she's really badass," and everyone was like, "All right."
Oh yes, I remember now. From not House Stark, but up north.
Yeah, she's yeah.
Okay, I've never made that connection. Have a point. So I watched it. My thoughts on the first episode. It's very good. It's very, very well. I'd say like 95% accurate to the game in terms of like cinematography and the actual scenes that take place. They are very loyal. Although some people are saying, "Oh, the house is on the wrong side of the street. Those street sides are the wrong way around. Boo! It's inaccurate." No, so far it's been very good. My concern is where they're gonna go with the series. Like, at what point is it gonna stop? Is it gonna go into The Last of Us Part 2? Is it gonna establish more that's what's in the game universe? Or is it gonna come to a natural stopping point? If it's been this loyal so far, and they managed to cram in quite a lot in the first episode, since it's like an hour and 20, I'm just wondering where they're going to go with it. Whether it's going to stop at the same point the games do, or whether they'll go into like The Last of Us Part 2 in Season 2. A lot of speculation to be had. But the effects are good, the script writing's good, the action's good. I've got no real faults with it, really. Everything's pretty top-notch. I know a lot of people were concerned with how actors like Bella Ramsey will get on, because it's, she looks quite different to how Ellie does in game, but she acted the part just fine, so I have no issues with it whatsoever. So I'm very much looking forward to what comes next. I know a lot of people have been saying like, "Oh, this is like one of the best video game adaptations out there so far," but they've only had one episode, so it's a bit early to tell yet.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that over this past week. Maybe not. Who knows? As you say, it's only one episode. Like, you can't. Like, we were talking about it before we would start recording. About anime, the anime site Mal. You can't judge a show or anything just on one episode. Like, you got to wait till the whole thing's out to understand if it's going to be great or if it drops the ball halfway through.
Yeah, because sometimes like the endings can completely like shit the whole thing up. Like Erased, for example, that was a pretty banger until the very end, where also it just fucked us all over.
Like, I'd assume The Last of Us is going to be good. Like, from start to finish, it's going to be really good. Like, but no, as you say, it's only one episode. Who knows?
Yeah, I know one of the writers from the games. Is it Neil Druckmann?
Yes.
Heavily involved, so I imagine that's why it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, I forget which character, but one of them is played by the voice actress who plays her in game as well. Is it Tess? I think that might be the right character. You know, I really should have done some research before I started this.
Well, unless you're saying, like, because I know Ashley Johnson played Ellie in the games. I don't know if she plays a character in the show. I doubt she does. She doesn't really do loads of acting.
No, it's not her. No, it's someone else, like one of the supporting characters.
Yeah.
Like, played by the same voice actress, which is pretty cool. So it's just like another point of accuracy. It's like if someone is pointing, is like, you can't get any more accurate than that. That's played by the voice actor. That is exactly the person who should play it.
I think I remember reading that it is Tess. I think
it's Tess.
I think it is, but I don't know unless you quickly Google it. But I think it is her, but I don't know.
Well, either way, I hope it carries on and goes from strength to strength.
How far did the first episode go?
I suppose it's only one episode. So I imagine most people who want to check it out have also played the game as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes up to the point where they're having like the little escape from the army sequence. Like in game, it's like this where you're avoiding spotlights, and then
goes that far.
You start beating a guard, and it goes as far as that.
Wow.
Which is that's what I mean. There's quite a lot packed into this. It's like you've got the initial outbreak. You've got like a year later when they're living in like under martial law, and they do the scene where it's essentially like the combat tutorial in the game where you like down the docks chasing down like the gunmen and that. Like, that's a hell of a lot in from one episode, which again makes me worried. Is like how far they're going to go with the series. It's like if they're going to cram that much in, I mean, I'm sure there's bound to be filler.
Yeah, I don't know how many episodes that it's the season's meant to be.
And that's depending on whether they go into the sequel in this one or whether they could even do like the DLC they had as well, where it's like a sort of flashback.
Left Behind.
Left Behind, that's the one, which I'm sure they might do. They might just have a couple of action episodes so they can just say it's the multiplayer part of the game. Just having a shootout for the hell of it. And they all go and play laser tag or something.
Who knows? I would like to check it out. I don't actually have I don't have Now TV to watch it or Sky, so I cannot watch it without. Yeah, but I would like to see what it's like. Like as I said, I've seen a lot of people on social media rave about it.
Yeah, well, so far so good, and here's hoping it keeps up the pace. I'm sure by the time the series wraps up, we'll have another discussion about it to say how good it was.
Funny mention Last of Us. Oh wait. Funny we're talking about Last of Us because there is another video game with a adaptation at the moment, and that is Nier Automata has a anime, and I've been watching that. There's only 3 episodes out, and initially I was like, oh, so it's just basically the game, and mostly, that is. It's just the game in animated form, but what they've like added some like little things, and it's quite interesting. The first episode was basically here's the tutorial section, and that was it. But episode 2 and 3 have put a lot more into it than I expected. Like episode 2, for example, the first half was like a whole load of stuff that was completely new. So it all focused on the machines, and then it went into when you then hit the city ruins after the tutorial, which is carried on into episode 3. But it was really interesting to see all this new stuff with the machines in episode 2. It's by A1 Pictures animation studio, so it looks the part. It looks fantastic. Music mostly uses the game music, so it cannot miss with the music at all, since that soundtrack is incredible. And both the opening and ending songs are great. Like, it looks the part. I think it's just going to be a fine anime adaptation of Nier Automata, but I think it's the extra little things that the anime is adding. I feel like initially I was just like, oh, it's just the game in anime form, but it's adding some little extra flair which makes me want to watch it more than initially I thought. So like the latest episode, which I can't believe I didn't see this, and I've played the game twice, that I realised the mask robots relate to the mass people in Nier Gestalt. And I was like, why did I never put that? That's completely obvious to put together, and I never, like they even had a scene with it in the latest episode, and I was like, why did I never put that together? That's stupid. It's so obvious, but no. It's I don't think it's going to be the best show this year, but it's at least a fun show that is actually adding more to it than I thought it would.
Do you want to know? I can't remember if I've already mentioned it. I think I have mentioned it before, but there was another game which has been animated, and that's the Arknights anime.
I know. Yeah, because you play that a lot on Twitch.
Yes, I've been playing that a lot on Twitch, and the anime came out started last season. It was only about 8 episodes long. I've still not quite finished it yet, and it's kept relatively true to the games. The only reason why I've probably not, again, it's one of these things where the lovers of Arknights are going to artificially inflate the score of the anime, whereas I like the actual story of the game play. But when that's getting translated from, still images and text from the game and translating it into an animated version, I mean, it has potential, but I think because it's not a well-funded project, I can't really rate it highly in terms of animation quality or anything like that. But it's still just a pleasant watch, like just to say, one of my favorite, like saying like a video game is being animated, and it's okay. So, yeah, generally okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of yet another video game adaptation, there's quite a lot of them going around in a minute. You've been watching one, haven't you, Dan? Based on League of Legends.
No.
No.
Oh, you that's Oh, well, I know what you're talking about. It is based off a game, based off Dungeons and Dragons, actually, of the live, the web series Critical Role. The season 2 of The Legend of Vox Machina has begun. They're releasing 3 episodes each week for the next month. So there'll be 12 episodes in total. First 3 dropped on Friday, and since season 1, I've actually been going through their first campaign, which The Legend of Vox Machina is all about. And so I've now gone through all of what season 1 was, and I'm into the events of season 2. So the first 3 episodes I've already listened to in the podcast form. So it was really interesting to see it all animated. And one of my favourite podcast episodes, half of it has been animated. And I'm very much looking forward to next Friday to see the second half, because it definitely puts you on the edge of your seat. I did talk about season 1 when it dropped, or about a year ago on the podcast, and I loved it. I rewatched it the other weekend, and it's just as good on a second watch. I noticed more little Easter eggs. So like in campaign 1, they fight a beast man, and they've that whole thing is not in the show, but when they're talking about there's a scene in season 1 where they're all around the campfire and they're talking about monsters they've killed. One of them mentions this beast man, and I was like, oh, so they have put that in, but in a different way. But so far, season 2 is really good. It's great to see so many. It's great to see it animated again, and I'm sure it's going to be another great season. If I like I said, it's on Amazon Prime. If I don't know if either of you two have watched it, but I'd highly recommend it. It's great adult animation. It's fun. It's funny. It can't really go wrong, and it's got great voice acting because it just has to, because of it's the main Critical Role is all voice actors who are fantastic.
And it has absolutely nothing to do with League of Legends, which is a bonus.
Yeah.
Which turns out I was thinking of the series Arcane.
You were.
Because that shows how knowledgeable I am on anime.
And Arcane is
great. It all just blends together to me.
Arcane is great. If I still recommend it. I might rewatch it at some point. It's great. But Legend of Vox Machina season 2 is shaping up to be fantastic. As if anyone's watched, well, by the time this comes out, it probably be up to episode 9 by the time this episode comes out, I think. So you'll find out what's happened. But so where it is right now, if you don't know what's going to happen next, you are on the edge of your seat until next Friday. But by the time this episode's out, I think it will be up to episode 9. So, but I definitely recommend it. Season 1's great. Season 2 is shaping up to be better. Definitely recommend it. But you watched another adult animated show, didn't you, Chris?
Yes, I did. Yeah, there's an awful lot of watching in this episode of the podcast. If you haven't noticed, dear listeners,
There are games,
we haven't
don't
played on that
worry.
one. Yes, there is an game at least. Hold
A
on
big
to your
one.
butt.
Yes, but you watched Koala Man.
I did indeed watch Koala Man. Oh, I must point out, because this is rather timely, that I decided to watch Koala Man before I found out about Justin Roiland's naughty business, shall we say. He's not been a very nice man. So I decided to watch this because I've seen it on Disney Plus, and I actually thought the trailer looked all right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm glad I did, because I had a good laugh at this. The show made me laugh within like 60 seconds, and then made me laugh a fair few more times in the first episode. And you thought, you know what, I think I'm gonna like this. So Koala Man, the animation is like Rick and Morty, but the writing's like it's completely different writers, completely different voice cast, so you don't hear the same like sort of Morty voice that's nowhere to be heard, which for me is a blessing, because I think I established on the last episode that grates on me ever so slightly after a while.
Oh yeah.
But trying to think of the voice cast, I think the most notable one is Hugh Jackman's in it.
I just want to say, Justin Roiland he's not got a lot. He doesn't do a whole load in this. It's not really his baby.
He's just a producer.
Yeah, he is just a producer. He's not really. It's under, I think, one of his production companies. But
Yeah,
other than that, he doesn't really have a whole load of input from the looks of it.
No, I do think though, if it weren't for that
Yeah.
sort of production thing, it probably wouldn't have got as much publicity as it. I think it's just got that name behind it, so
Yeah.
like, ooh, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so,
Hugh Jackman.
Yes, so Hugh Jackman's in it, and other I think predominantly Australian voice cast, because it is set in Australia, hence the Koala Man.
Hence Hugh Jackman.
Exactly, but not Liam or Chris Hemsworth, which they do bring up in the show as a joke.
Oh right.
Which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, it doesn't have like the same humour as Rick and Morty. It's not like fourth wall breaking. So I think it does a couple of jokes like that, but they're mostly reined in all the meta humour. It's mostly in universe, and it does like have a sort of running narrative as well. Each episode is like 25 minutes, and there's only 8 episodes, so you can get through it in an afternoon if you really wanted to. But the premise is Koala Man, or to give him his real name, Kevin, which to my surprise, like quite a few people know who it is, like as a superhero. Like to the like common man, they don't know who he is, but to like his wife and like his boss and that, they all know his persona, which is a fresh take, I suppose. It's like sort of half and half. But the thing is, Koala Man doesn't really have any powers as such. He's just like quite vigilant and quite smart. He's not it doesn't fall into the trope of like, oh, it's like a useless superhero, anything like that. He is like actually competent of what he does. It's just what he does is mostly bureaucracy, sticking to the rules. Like in the first episode, he established he's very vital to the community because he knows when the bins go out. And that's how the first conundrum of the show happens, is like, like he sort of forgets to put the bins out, even though he swears he did. But because he didn't put the bins out, nobody else in the community did. And they're like, come on, man, why have you forsaken us? It's like, we've all missed bin day. So it's stuff like that. But I thought the writing was quite clever. And as I say, it did make me laugh. It's just very low key, I suppose is the best way to put it. Like, there are like quote unquote super villains, but I don't want to say they're like crap. They're just sort of really low level. It's like, I suppose like the same kind of threat level as like street level thugs in like Spider-Man or something. Like nothing that's ever going to kick off big, but it does have a good sense of humor, and I really did enjoy it, and I quite highly recommend it. I thought it was good. I don't know if they'll get a season 2. Maybe it doesn't need one. Maybe there's a one and done. But for what it is, yeah, made me laugh. Yeah, check out Koala Man. Seriously, it's good.
Do you feel it needs a season 2?
I don't think it does. It does the whole cliffhanger thing at the end, but name one show on any streaming service that hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like it did look a bit like a bit weird, and I don't know, I was half tempted to maybe give it a watch. I don't know.
Yeah, I do suggest you give it a shot. If you watch the first episode and it doesn't really vibe with you, the comedy like never really changes. It's still got like the same tone throughout. But I think you'll get the gist of it, whether you're gonna like it or not. But I thought it was good, and surprisingly, it did have a few like twists and turns in the plot, which was nice to see. In something I thought would just be like disposable, I found quite a lot to enjoy in it.
Sometimes it's like the things that are like kind of short and sweet, where you find a lot of enjoyment or you just find a comfort out of them.
I think because I didn't really have any expectations going in. It was just like a nice surprise.
I've been slowly going through like Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and it's surprisingly like really, it's good, but it's like really easy to watch and just kind of like I don't want to say like junk food, but it's like just such a easy comfort to watch. Whenever I put on an episode, I'm like, oh, this is just something really easy and fun to watch.
One of those shows where you go to put on one episode and then all of a sudden you've watched like 7.
Yeah, I haven't like had like a massive binge like that, but I can easily like put a couple on, like only, well, it says like 27 minutes, but it's like 5 minutes of credits, so it's only like 22 minutes, so they don't go, it's not like that long, so. But Brandon, you watch something, I know it is mostly a watching, there are games, there is games.
Well, there's no games for me, I've just been watching stuff just for the decorating. But yeah, I thought, while I've managed to get relatively up to date for this season of anime stuff, so I was just looking for things to watch, and for some reason Horimiya just was the first thing to appear in my mind. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll go watch Horimiya, and I am so glad that I decided to watch it because it hooked me from the absolute beginning. So Horimiya is an anime series about two high school people. So you got Horikita and Miyamura. So Miyamura is in high school, he is this emo-looking, geeky-looking guy, and then Hori is this popular girl at school, loved by everyone. And then when she goes at home, she turns into almost like a doting sister, looking after a younger brother, doing all like the household chores and stuff. But deep down, Miyamura basically bumps into Hori outside of school, and he has this like his hair back combed, he's got piercings all over his face and in his ears, he's got tattoos, and he just looks like like that emo gothic guy, like cool in my eyes. And they just basically hit it off, and the secrets get exposed, and they just start hanging out. He goes around to hers and plays with her younger brother, and it's just basically like a relationship brewing between the two, and it's just so heartwarming. Like, just see, and they actually get together. The comedy in it is fantastic. The fact that every character you see around the two main characters, how there's like love triangles forming everywhere. But it's just nice seeing these love triangles turning into, actual pairings. It's just so wholesome to watch. I absolutely adore it to bits. And if I was to rank it in terms of like all my favorite rom-com animes which I've seen, like, most anime lovers will know how amazing Fruits Basket is. And I will probably put it above Fruits Basket. So in terms of like that tier of rom-coms, it's like on par with the likes of Toradora, Pet Girl, Sakuraso, Fruits Basket. It's just like there, like that high in regards. It's such a good watch, and Dan, you have to watch it. It's so good. I'm only about 12 episodes in at the moment, so I'm halfway through, and I can't believe, it got animated 2 years ago. I didn't watch it with the seasonal stuff, and I don't know why, because if I did,
because it wasn't on Crunchyroll. It was on Funimation, and that's why.
Oh yeah, and then the fact that they've merged, and that's probably why I've been able to gain access, because I didn't have Funimation.
That's why.
I have noticed like a lot of the Funimation stuff is now coming over to Crunchyroll, and it's great.
Near enough. It's only 13 episodes.
I thought Horimiya was 24.
No.
I thought it was longer than that.
It's only. I was like, when you said on episode 12, I was like, well, you've only got one episode left.
Have I really? I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was 20 something.
No, it's 13 episodes.
Fuck me, I've been lied to. I'm nearly finished that.
Don't know what only 13 episodes. There you go.
Oh, well then, I've nearly finished it then, so I don't know why I'm talking about it now. But yeah, watch it. It is so good. I don't know why I thought it was 24 episodes. I think it's because of other stuff I've seen.
You tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, I blame the likes of Toradora and Komi because they were about 24 episodes long. And then Fruits Basket just went on forever.
Yeah, but Fruits Basket's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, watch Horimiya. It's a great short watch. And if you want to read it, it's 16 volumes long.
That's not too bad.
I know, it's not bad at all.
To be fair, well, Chainsaw Man's only 11. Actually, no, that's 13 now, but part 1's 11, so, yep.
Right, on the topic of reading, actually, I've also, because of the app I got on my phone, I've been reading Seraph of the End, so Owari no Seraph. And the anime finished quite a while ago, but I think in terms of the manga, it finishes around about chapter 50-ish. Each chapter is about 40 or 50 pages long, and there's 120 chapters. This is such a long read. But I'm actually enjoying it. So yeah, that's another thing I've been up to, is just reading manga on the side. If I read anything new or anything exciting, I will say about it. But right now, I'm just watching all of the old but gold stuff.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm going to talk about it.
Not going to lie, Dan, you've actually annoyed me, the fact that you just broke my heart and said that Horimiya is 13 episodes, because I wanted it to go on forever.
I'm sorry. Well,
that actually means I'm going to finish it tonight.
Yeah, you are.
That is so sad.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go cry now.
I'm going to talk about, you know what I'm going to talk about? Fire Emblem Engage. The latest Fire Emblem game has finally dropped. I've been so excited for this, and I played about 4 hours, so not loads. I was going to start it yesterday, and instead I didn't. I said mostly I edited our last episode. Funny enough, that's what I mainly did. So today I started playing Fire Emblem Engage, and it's not free houses. It can't be free houses, and that's good. That's good. This is more like how this is gonna be weird. This is Fire Emblem Engage is more like how Fire Emblem should be, whereas Fire Emblem Free Houses was acting more like Persona than actual Fire Emblem. This is not Free Houses, as you know, is one of my favorite games, and I love it. But Engage is basically what Fire Emblem should be in terms of gameplay. One of the things that the gameplay of Fire Emblem is notable for is the weapon triangle, which was absent in Free Houses, and that returns, and it's really great. It's out of the free, well, this is now my fourth, but of the three prior Fire Emblem games I played, only one of them had that, which was the Sacred Stones on the Game Boy Advance. The original Fire Emblem doesn't have it because it's the original one, and Free Houses, that it was absent, but the weapon triangle is back. And it's great to kind of it's great to have it back, because where the weapon triangle is swords, lances, and axes, and it's kind of like Pokemon, where you have grass, water, fire. It's basically that, but with lances, axes, swords, and it's great having like that again, where it's like, right, I'm wielding a sword. I'm going to probably get this wrong, actually. I think it's an axe character. It's like there's an axe character. Right, I need to break that character's guard with a sword character instead of a lance character, because the axe character is good against the lance. So it's great to have that combat aspect in the game. The gameplay is so fluent when you're moving your characters. It feels so free compared to the past games where it felt so blocky, where instantly you pick your character and where you can travel, you can just easily just move your character so without any worry of like, it just feels so fluent. The story kind of just gets out your way as well, which is, if you're not bothered about the story, it's kind of nice. You can just get stuck into the combat. I think that's like the biggest thing, the biggest problem about Free Houses is the story is just in your face too much. Where I didn't mind, I love it, but I would say someone like you, Chris, I know you're not the biggest fan of like Persona. That Free Houses is way more like Persona. Whereas Engage, I think if you like your strategy games, you got to deal with the story to a certain degree, but if you just want to get into the combat, I think Engage is a great starting off point if you've never played Fire Emblem. I think just in general, it's such a great starting point for Fire Emblem. It definitely has a legacy feeling, whereas because you have these rings that have have like legacy characters, like Marth, for example. Marth is the original main character from the first Fire Emblem game. So he's the first one you get, and these characters, they like merge with your characters, and you can get special abilities, and each ring is different that you get these characters from. So far I've only got 3, and they're the characters from Fire Emblem 1, 2 and 4. So I've already got them, which makes sense that they would be the first 3. Marth is the main character of Fire Emblem 1 and 3, so that's why. But I'm loving it so far. I know it's only 4 hours in. I don't have loads to say, but it definitely feels they've dialed back a lot of the conversational sections of Free Houses, for example. The story kind of gets out your way quite quickly. Like, out of the 4 hours, most of that has been in the battles, not just dealing with story. And already I've got quite an interesting cast of characters. There's already some that I'm like, I think I'm going to keep this character for the whole game. Whereas there's a few that I'm like, I feel like I'm going to get rid of these as soon as another character comes in. That feels better. I'm really enjoying it. So far. Yeah, I know It's only 4 hours. I don't have the biggest amount of things to say about it, but as I said, it feels like this is how Fire Emblem should be as a Fire Emblem game compared to the last game.
So, in a nutshell, it's way more action focused than it is narrative focused. Essentially, what you're saying.
Yeah, I think the story is fine so far. There's a couple things that feel like that's exactly the same as in Three Houses, but it feels a bit like, oh, it's just this, whatever. But then it's like, this is a good character and there is an evil character. I feel like story-wise, it's going to be far more black and white. And one of the great things about Three Houses was the whole story was so grey that it was just like every playthrough you'd be like, I don't know if what I'm doing, if this is the good route or the bad route. Everything was just so grey, and that's why Three Houses story was just so fascinating. Yeah, there was too many characters and too many things going on, and it was too much busy work. That was just like, I don't really see, like someone like you, Chris, it was just pointless. It would be boring. Whereas in Engage, you don't need to worry about hardly any of the busy work. If you just want to get into the next battle, yeah, go ahead. You could do it in Three Houses, but it felt a bit more like you needed to do the busy work. Whereas in Engage, like instantly it's like, right, next chapter, go on. Pretty much just get stuck in. But I'm enjoying it more. As soon as we finish recording, I'm going to be playing more. I'm really excited to see see how it goes. What they've changed some other stuff with the weapons. They used to degrade. Now they don't degrade. So I don't think you really need to buy as many weapons as you used to, which is quite nice. It's a bit, I don't know, it means that, I guess, you can have a bit more money to spend on other things in-game, but...
I was going to say, is this going to turn to the same problem that Skyrim has, where all of a sudden, towards the end game, you've just got too much money?
I don't know. Fire Emblem's never really been a game of, like, where you get loads of money because of how it works. So, well... when you can grind for it, it does, but I think if you play it straight, not really. Like, I had hardly any money on, for example, Sacred Stones when I played that, and I did do some grinding, but that money was scarce. You needed to use it correctly, and even on Shadow Dragon, it's exactly the same. Three Houses, for the most part, was that until about the end of the game, where you could then just do a whole load of extra missions and get a whole load of extra money. You get infinite money, which... yeah, fair enough. But it looks like maybe not. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But I'm interested to see like how Engage goes. I bought the special edition, called the Divine Edition. With it, I got a steelbook of the game. That looks great. It's a steelbook. I got a poster. I got some art cards of all the main characters from the past games, who are the emblem rings you get in the game. And then I got an art book, which is absolutely stunning. I wish there was an art book for Three Houses. I'd get it, but this art book for Engage is incredible. I'm really happy I got it. I think I paid about £100 for the special edition, but I'm really like all the stuff I got with it. I don't normally pre-order games for like those big editions, but I thought I would, since I love Three Houses that much. I thought I would with Engage, and so far I'm really enjoying Engage. I think maybe gameplay wise, I think it's better than Three Houses, but I don't know about story. I don't think the story will be as good, but I'm absolutely enjoying it. I don't know if you've seen a picture of the main character. I know you have, Brandon, but I don't know if you've seen a picture of the main character, Chris.
I have not.
Their hair is toothpaste.
I like it. I like
Come again.
that bi-colour theme.
Their hair colour is blue and red.
Okay then.
So like they've fully voiced the main character as well, which is really nice. So it fleshes them out quite a bit. I'm very excited to play more. I'm only on chapter 5, so I'm not very far at all, and I've just kind of got to the bit where you can start to the hub. You get a hub world like in Three Houses, and it feels a lot more condensed. It feels a lot more focused than it did in Three Houses. The monastery in Three Houses was just ginormous, and so much of it was just pointless or empty. Yeah. So I'm hoping it feels... Engage feels more focused and feels more like what Fire Emblem should be gameplay-wise. And I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. 2 thumbs up for me so far. I know.
Here's a thing.
Yeah.
I just seen like, you said like, they got like hair like toothpaste. I'll just had a look to see what the hell you mean. And why did you all have like really bright coloured hair if to go into a skirmish? Surely they want to be camouflaged, right? Let's stick out like a sore thumb. If like an archer seen that from miles away, like, oh, there appears to be a neon-coloured hedge coming towards us. Maybe we should open fire on it before it gets anywhere close.
Well, I'd say there seems to be a reason. I'm only 4 hours in, but story-wise, there actually seems to be a story reason why they have that multicoloured hair. But I don't know.
Have they considered investing in a sort of hat or helmet?
Like, so far, like, character-wise, I got, in Chapter 3, I got an archer, and she's incredible so far. So I'm probably going to be using her for quite a bit. And the main characters, your lord characters are always great in every Fire Emblem game. They're the character you have to use anyway, so they're always great. Like Marth in the original Fire Emblem game, I'm not even halfway through the game, and I've already maxed his level out because he's that easy to, and he's that good of a character. Just means I can't increase his level, but if I need him to do anything in Shadow Dragon, he fucking destroys anything. But no, so far it's looking good, and I will talk about it again when I've played it many more hours. I will.
There's nothing worse than like an RPG where you're stuck with your main character and they're like the worst one in the party by a long shot.
Well, in Shadow Dragon, Marth was really shit in the early levels when you get him at level 1 and he's shit. But then when you hit like level 8, he just comes into his own. Now I've got him max level, which is 20 in Shadow Dragon. He just destroys anything, and I can still upgrade some of his stats. So if I find anything that can do that, I just give it to him. I think I've got a few stats that are maxed out anyway. Because the thing with Fire Emblem is when a character levels up, their stat bonuses or stat increases are random, and it's like a percentage that will depend on what goes up. So all 3 of us could play the same Fire Emblem game, use the same character, max them out, or level them up to the same level, and our stats would all be completely different. It's a little bit like Pokemon, for example. Every Pokemon you get is different because of the effort values. It's exactly like that.
Okay.
Because I know, like in Three Houses, one of the archer characters, she's a really good character, but her stat increases are really sporadic and quite bad. And if there's ways to increase it, so if you can, she's like one of the best characters, but she's prone to having really bad stat increases. So far, Engage is good. I have actually played a bit more Octopath Traveler, by the way, and I do just want to mention I don't know how far you got, but I started doing the next couple of chapters, and the way the characters interact with one another, I'm not really a big fan. It's very minimal at best. It's like even skippable. It's like quite bad.
I'll be honest with you, I mostly mash the A button during that.
Yeah,
I just want to get back to doing murders.
I'm a little bit like that with like the story I'm on, the chapter I'm on right now with one of the characters is not really that engaging. I'm just like whatever, and it's just when you're on the chapter 2 for each character, or chapter 3 and chapter 4, it's like a thing called party banter. So you press that button, and it's just like 2 characters who are like, oh, you were really nice to that kid. Oh, you've got a kind heart. Or it's like, why did you act like that? It's like, it was just like, oh, that's all it is. I think from the sounds of it, there's going to be a bit more character interaction in Octopath Traveler 2, which definitely needs to be a thing, because what it is in Octopath Traveler is pretty bad. But I love just the actual gameplay of Octopath. So yeah, I have fun.
And I've still been playing through Chained Echoes, and I'm still very much enjoying that. Again, I thought I was getting close to like the end game, and then the game just keeps throwing new mechanics at me, and like a new party member was like, "Oh, I guess I've still got some ways to go then." Never mind. It keeps going, but that's not a bad thing because I'm still really enjoying it. And every time it's throws a new mechanic at you, it's like, "Oh, cool, something else to play with," and it'll be pretty beneficial and fun to do. So I ain't complaining.
Yeah. I think I will probably be getting Octopath Traveler 2 when that drops. I know the Advance War remake has been delayed indefinitely. I don't know when that's meant to be coming out. It was meant to be out the last day of 2022, and now it's pretty much been delayed indefinitely, so I have no idea. And I pre-ordered the game, so I might cancel my pre-order. I have no idea. I think
on the plus side, they've announced the Series 2 of Invincibles coming out later this year.
I saw that. That would be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I like how they did a whole initially I thought it was just a trailer of the series, and then it was like, no, this is just an announcement trailer. I was like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like they basically just made a little comedy sketch out of it. Yeah.
It's good to see Stephen Young as Invincible, and oh my gosh, what's his name? Seth Rogen. Yeah, Seth Rogen. I can't remember. I don't know his character name, but it's played by Seth Rogen.
Well, he normally just plays himself.
Yeah, I think in that reveal trailer for season 2, I could tell it was Seth Rogen, but initially when I watched it, I couldn't tell it was Seth Rogen.
His voice is quite iconic. It's like I think for the most part he like covers it quite well, but when he does like certain dialects, like that's definitely him.
I think I just enjoyed Invincible that much. I just didn't realise it was him.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that before season 2 comes out.
Yeah, I think I will as well.
Well, I've got one more film to discuss today before I move on to what I've been playing. But Brandon, you've been quiet for a bit. Have you got anything else to discuss, mate?
Literally, all I've done all this week is decorate, sit in the bedroom watching anime, reading bits of manga.
Just like the
and that's literally it. It's just because we've had a lot of late shifts at work. Well, it's not shifts, it's a 9 to 5 job. There's just been like a lot of late finishes. The roadworks in Leicester have been horrendous, so it's like taking me like an hour to get home some days.
So
really, I've just not really done anything apart from watch Horimiya. I've not even played on the PlayStation because the room's just been like sort of torn apart, so I've not been on it until like literally today when I just picked up Skyrim again. But that's about it. Done nothing else. Just PhD stuff, really.
You know what's funny? Before I even played Engage, I put my PS4 on and played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for about an hour. I was like, I just want to play a bit of this before I even start Engage. I think all the Clone Wars stuff made me I want to finish it before I get, because I'm going through all the Star Wars. I need to finish Fallen Order. So I was like, I best play a bit more. And I didn't even do much. I just explored a world, and then I was like, oh, now let's actually do the story.
See, because I had my birthday last week, I've been given like a few games. So instead of like finishing one game, I've like started all of them. I'm just sort of rotating through them all.
That's a question. How was your birthday, Chris?
Yeah, it was good. I was at work all day.
Oh.
And then I did a stream for 2 hours when I got home, which was a laugh. Ended up playing Shredder's Revenge again. It's like, well, it's my birthday, and I'll play what I damn well want, and I'll play my favourite game of the year. And yeah, it was good. But honestly, it just felt like another day. Anyhow.
It does, don't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, I don't like to celebrate like Easter or Christmas or anything. I'd say like the closest I get is Halloween, but even then I have to work Halloween as well, so that's just another day now. It kind of loses its sparkle over the years. Well, that's depressing. Anyway, let's talk about a character study in a film. So I watched a film, The Menu, which stars Ray Fiennes and Anna Taylor-Joy, and John Leguizamo, oddly enough, is in it. The Menu, if you've not seen, is currently on Disney+, and it is a story about a couple who go to have a sort of private function with this well-renowned chef played by Ray Fiennes, and it's like I was going to say the word typical, but it really isn't typical. It's like what you expect from like a real high class dining, like small portions, but like a lot of thought's gone into them. And I'll tell you what, a lot of thought's gone into each dish in this one, but in a more sinister way more than anything else. So this couple go like to an island resort, and with them there's like more tables of people that go with them. I think all in all there's about 10 or so people with them, and when they get there they're introduced to like the chef like the cooking staff who are there that led to the tables. You get like an introduction for like each table of who's who. So on one table you've got like well-renowned food critic and a cohort. Another table you've got John Leguizamo, who's like a sort of film star with his wife who are like splitting up. There's another table with like three lads who like run a business, and they're the kind of people that say, "Oh, do you know who I am?" That kind. And then there's like an old sort of loving couple that look like they're in their twilight years. And then you've got the couple which consists of Anna Taylor-Joy and this other gentleman whose relationship sort of is kept sketchy. And it's one of those films you find out more and more about each group of people as the film progresses, and like nothing is what it seems. It is classed as like a sort of horror comedy. I'd say it's more like a thriller than a horror. It's got horror elements in it. Some things just come straight out of the blue, and it's the kind of film I wasn't sure if I'd like it when I started watching it. I thought, is this going to be like hoity-toity stuff, and it's like going to try and be far too clever for its own good and just go over most people's heads, which is not the case. There is a lot going on, and I think it's the kind of film I may want to rewatch, knowing what I know after the first watch. So each dish, like it's spread out over so many courses, which I won't say how many because that will lead to spoilers. But each one. It sort of starts innocently enough, and then there are sort of hints and jabs at characters behind the menu because each thing he serves up has a deeper meaning to either the head chef or the people he's serving, and goes a little bit off the rails, as you may expect. There's some violent bits. There's some it's just a good character study. Unlike everyone, there's a lot of psychological things going on. I do recommend it though. It is a slow burn to start with. I think it takes about a good half hour before things really get going. And the film's like 2 hours, top of my head. But one thing's like sort of kick into gear. It's the kind of thing that keeps you guessing. It's like, well, what's going to happen next? Because you know it's going to escalate, but you don't know in what way or how or to whom. I suppose, oddly enough, of all things, it kind of reminds me a little bit like a Saw film, because it's like they're going to step into another trap, but you don't know what it is. But the trap in this case, like being a menu item somewhere. Initially, I thought it was going to be something like really, really simplistic, like, oh, it's going to turn out to be cannibalism or something like that, like really, really, really predictable. But no, it really isn't. So it's kind of a fresh take on the sort of psychological study, which the life of me, I can't think of anything similar I've seen. And because it came out like so late, like last year, I think it missed out on a lot of like film of the year sort of awards, because I think it did get very highly rated.
Yeah.
When it finally dropped. But yeah, it gets a recommendation for me. I can't promise that it's a film for everyone, because again, it's a slow burn. You might find it boring because, as I say, things do escalate, but like nothing's like completely over the top. It is reined in for the most part and kept, for lack of a better word, realistic, I guess. No, it was a very good film, though, and I do recommend you give it a watch.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I kept seeing it like advertised so much as well.
Yeah, everyone plays a good part. But it's one of those films, because there's like a mystery really like behind it. I can't really go into any more detail without any spoilers whatsoever. I can only really like give you the basic premise and tell you that things escalate. That's all I can really say. Anything else will just ruin it. I think I went onto it knowing nothing, and I think that's possibly the best way to go about it. You know, absolutely nothing going in. Pretend you didn't hear everything I just said.
What did you speak about? Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, something about toothpaste haircuts or something.
I thought you watched Nobody as well.
Oh yeah, I did watch Nobody. Is that the film I was just talking about?
No.
Talked about something. I sort of blacked out there for a minute.
Because when you went, oh, I've still got one more film, I was like, you watched Nobody as well.
Well, I forgot.
Well,
these things happen. So yeah, Nobody. This film actually came out a couple of years ago, but it was during the plague times, shall we say. I think it came out like when the cinemas first reopened, before we closed them again during that very brief window when everyone sort of stuck their heads outside. It's like, is it safe to come out? And then like a month later, it was like, no, go back indoors again. But yes, I watched the film Nobody, which stars Bob Odenkirk. And oddly enough, Christopher Lloyd, which I did not know was in it. That was a nice surprise. And weirdly enough, Michael Ironside as well, who I haven't seen since, I think, Starship Troopers. If you're unfamiliar with Michael Ironside, just watch any action films from the 80s. Literally any of them. He's in it. I think Total Recall, for example. He's in that. You'll know his face. But yeah, Nobody stars Bob Odenkirk as a family man. One day his house gets broken into. He gets threatened with physical violence, and he kind of pushes it aside and knocks it off until he finds out later that when his house gets burgled, they stole his little girl's kitty bracelet, and that's not on.
No.
Not at all. Hell no. Fuck them. So, turns out, as you may expect, they've got a sort of Taken thing going on, where there's more to Bob Odenkirk than meets the eye. But honestly, this was kind of in the trailers, and it's pretty much in the summary as well. This is not really a surprise. Again, what is a surprise? An odd parallel to Koala Man. His wife knows about it. His family knows about it, so it's not kept a secret. He's like one of the. It's kind of like a lot like John Wick as well. John Wick had a family. Still. What I will say though is it's only like 90 minutes. There's a hell of a lot of action in it, and the action in it is really top notch. It's very well directed. The fight scenes are quite visceral, and the sound design is top notch. It's one of those films like when you just like do a hard connect with something, you feel it. It's like, oh yeah, no, thank you. But also quite inventive of what they do. If you think the bus fight scene in Shang-Chi was pretty good, yeah, nobody kind of puts it to shame a little bit, because that's got a bus fight scene as well. So it's a lot more violent. Honestly, if you really like films like, as I say, like Taken, or to a lesser extent, The History of Violence, the old Viggo Mortensen one, there's a lot of parallels, and you pretty much know what you're gonna get, but the writing's solid. It doesn't waste your time. There's no fat to it. Bob Odenkirk is great as ever. I like to think it's like what happened after Better Call Saul, after he's put his past behind him and started again. It's like, but in a more physical way. Again, the film's got a couple of laughs in it that are pretty natural. Yeah, you pretty much know exactly what you're gonna get. It's like an action film with Bob Odenkirk doing Taken. It's like, yeah, that sounds good. It's a very, very good way to spend 90 minutes, and I highly recommend you do.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. Again, it's one I've wanted to watch since it came out, because me and my folks seen the trailer, and even back then we're like, yeah, that looks good. I want that in my face immediately. And honestly, I just got bored of waiting, because I thought one day it'll come on Amazon, one day it'll come on Netflix or Disney Plus, and it just hasn't. It's like, where is it? It's been ages. It's been out for like 2 years now. Give it to me. So I just got bored and did some internet magic and made it appear on my telly. And I'm glad I did, because it was well worth it. It's well worth going to prison for. Sorry, in a totally legal sense, of course.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well, you did have another video game thing, didn't you, Chris?
But I did, yes. So, right, I think I may as well make this kind of like the main topic for today, because it's been mostly stuff we've watched this week, and obviously your Fire Emblem as well. But yesterday, I went round a friend's house, and he had the Sega Mega Drive Mini 2, which I was aware had come out, and as far as I can tell, it's also an Amazon exclusive, and they've done quite a limited run on this. So we decided, hey, why not boot it up, because he hasn't played it yet. So we got it working, booted it up, and I'll tell you what, just straight off the bat, I know it's called the Mega Drive Mini 2, but my God, is it mini? It's too mini. It's way too many. I'll put up a photo for the lads and compared it to like the size of an Xbox Series X. And Jesus Christ, you can stack like 50 of the damn things to make before it even comes halfway up the console. It's so small. Like, I don't know. It quite literally fits into the palm of my hand without going into my fingers. And I got small girly hands, so it's tiny. So on the Mega Drive Mini 2, if you've played the Mega Drive Mini, it's got a second wave of games. So I don't think there's any that were on the Mega Drive Mini 1. I think they're all unique titles. But to try and pad them out a little bit, they've put some Sega CD games on there as well. So, which I think is pretty dumb on Sega's part, because I'm pretty sure they could have done a Sega CD Mini as well. I don't see any reason why they couldn't have done that. But then again, would they have 30 titles good enough to put on it? Because I'm looking at the lineup on here, because we went through like the games that we weren't familiar with, like the ones we haven't played to death already, and we did scratch our heads thinking, why did they put this on here? There's so many other games that aren't been ported, like, I don't know, top of my head, Rocket Knight Adventures, where's that? Poltergeist, where's that? That's not on there. That's not on either of them. That sucks. But I'll tell you what it does have. It does have the Ninja Warriors, which is a side-scrolling arcade game, which is crap. which has like every character has like 2 frames of animation, and it's one of those old arcade games where you just go left to right. The background never changes. It's just the same enemies, like at times infinity, and that's like the entire level. It just keep coming, and all you do is press this one same attack button you got. And but what made us laugh in I just got given a cup of tea. What happens in Ninja Warriors? What made us laugh is player 1. Your character has a name, but you can do a 2-player one. And the second player was just called Ninja. It's like they couldn't even be bothered to come up with a second character. It's like, you have the famous Ninja Warrior Otashi and Ninja, which I'd argue is a better name, because the whole thing about being a ninja is like nobody's not meant to like know your identity and meant to be left in the shadows. So if he's just called Ninja, he's doing a better job. But yeah, so that's a game that exists, and there's a lot of games on here, some of which weren't even available at all. Like there's one called Deviant P or Deviant Pi, spelled with 2 I's, which was a game that was never released, and we can see why. Like, why did you put this on here? Yeah. So Deviant Pi is very strange. It's all in Japanese. They haven't even translated it. So we were trying to work out what the hell was going on. But we put it on because it was 2-player. And how can I put it? Imagine, Breakout or Arknights, where you got like paddles at the bottom. Or hell, maybe like Pong. Imagine Pong, but flip vertically rather than horizontal. You got sets you control both paddles, like top and bottom. It's like you use directional buttons for one paddle and then like A and B to like move the other paddle left and right. And essentially on screen, you've got like devils coming down, which you've got to use the bottom paddle to avoid them, not hit them. And then you've got angels rising up, which you have to connect the top panel with. So that's kind of like reverse Arknights. But it messes with your brain because you're like trying to keep an eye on both paddles at the same time at top and bottom. And if you're doing badly, if you like keep hitting devils or keep missing angels, the screen shrinks. Right, like it gets smaller and smaller, vertically from like top to bottom. And when it gets too small, it's just like game over. Which it's one of those games where it actually gets harder the more you fail, because you've got less time to make mistakes, which is the opposite of how games should be. If you're struggling, they should be made slightly easier in some form, not the opposite, I feel. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But yeah, Deviant Pi, can't say I recommend that. But on the Mini, anyway, there's a ton of games. What is a bit crap, though, is the first Mega Drive Mini came with 2 controllers. The second one only comes with 2, with 1, but it's got a load of mini games on there. I think it assumes that if you've bought the second one, you must have bought the first one, which, bear in mind, aren't cheap. The scalping prices are dumb on these. You can buy the controllers separately, but still, you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now. The Sega Mega Drive Mini at the moment on Amazon is £300. A bit much, considering it doesn't even have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on it. In fact, the second one doesn't have Sonic 3 on it. Never mind Sonic and Knuckles. It's got Sonic 3D on it, though. So that's something. So yeah, I can't really say the worth of the money, but it killed an afternoon, though. Like, if you're playing for like single player, you'll probably get your money's worth. To a degree. Like, it's got some. Generally, it does have some good games on it. Like, got Ristar on there, which is woefully underweighted platformer. It was meant to be rivaling with Sonic at the time when it came out, and I thought it was really good. But you've also got. I'll tell you what, Dan, you might be interested in this because you like your Fire Emblems. Have you ever played the Shining Force games?
No, I know of them, but I've never played them.
Yeah, because they're like top-down tactical turn-based things, just like Fire Emblem. Like, all your characters got individual stats. I'd say it's like a far more stripped back, but they do have a plot. And I'd say the second one's better. You can just start with the second one. You just like go into skirmishes. All the skirmishes are like fixed. Like they've got like the same enemy units and that. But some units are better than others. But each one's individual. Like you'll have like your ones that can cast magic, which do high damage, but they've only got so many magic points. So at the beginning of the fight, they're great, but as the fight goes on, they're pretty much worthless because they haven't got any MP left. You got your basic like soldiers who are like jack of all trades. You got like your defensive ones which can't move very far but can take a lot of damage and deal out a lot of damage as well. So yeah, I really, really highly recommend the Shining Force games if you like tactical turn-based combat. Can't go far wrong. Second one especially. And there is like a storyline. There's secrets to be found. There's like hidden characters.
Yeah, sounds
it's
really Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
so
very
you
much
could-
like Fire Emblem.
Yeah, you can buy like armor and equipment for us all. And again, the easiest way to grind is like your character sort of has a escape spell to just like get out of battle. So if you want to grind for like level or money, instead of like finishing the fight like by defeating like the head unit or wiping out the map, it depends on the fight. Just get a couple of units or get about halfway through, then just cast escape and then just restart the fight again. Just do it that way. I massively recommend the Shining Force games. But interestingly enough, the Mini 2 has got Shining Force CD on it, which is a game I have never actually played. And I kind of want to get it just for that. I'm sure I could emulate it, but just the fact I haven't played it. I've played 1 and 2 to death and I haven't played CD. If anything, for me, that's like the biggest selling point, just that title alone. It does have some other good games. It kind of runs into the Mini 2 runs into the same problem a lot of things do, because it's the second one. It's like they used all the best games on the first one, so the second one is come a bit short. It's like the second wave of games. But surprisingly, this one does have some good ones, like Earthworm Jim 2. It's got Echo the Dolphin on it, Bonanza Brothers, Ranger X, which is a very good platformer shooter, which is very difficult, and of course everyone's favorite platforming game ever, Rainbow Islands. Hell yeah. I can hear the music to Rainbow Islands now without playing it.
Are you sure it's not Bugsy 3D?
Get out. Anyway, that wasn't on the Mega Drive, that was on the PlayStation.
No, you just went, oh, one of the best platformers. I'm like, oh, Bugsy 3D, there you go.
As far as I'm aware, Bubsy 3D has not been ported to the PlayStation Mini.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
I just thought I'd open this up to a wider conversation and people at home. Like, have you played any of the mini consoles? Do you think it's worth the money for what they are? Do you think the games are good enough to justify the price? I myself can't see anything worth £300 of the original Mega Drive.
Don't think
I'd probably pay for.
I think it's like very much nostalgia.
I mean, because it's like goes into HDMI, you could stream from it. Like nobody wanted to. It's an option, and I suppose it's the most quote unquote legal way of doing it nowadays. Unless you're doing I suppose apart from emulation, that's the only other option you've got. So even if you've got the original hardware, you'd still need all converters.
I know the PlayStation Mini didn't really do that well.
No, well, the choices of games were odd, weren't they?
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Listen, I'm just going to have a quick look at what games were on it. I know Resident Evil was on it.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 7 was on it. Tomb Raider 2, I think.
2, but not 1.
Yeah. Ridge Racer, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And there's only 20 games on it, which, yeah. And they probably haven't picked the best ones. Pretty sure.
No, if I was to, pick there's certain things that I'd have, if it was me, I'd put on over other stuff of, iconic PlayStation games. There's some there, nah.
Well, considering if we're talking iconic for PlayStation, there's no Crash Bandicoot, there's no Spyro the Dragon, for example. The actual killer apps for it. You got Destruction Derby, but not Destruction Derby 2. The good one.
Yeah, even take the SNES Mini. It basically has it has a fantastic collection of the games you think it should have. It pretty much has them all.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball with the Mini, didn't they? So I can't believe what's on here. Intelligence Cube. I'm sure Intelligence Cube is a nice bonus because that's one you probably don't see coming on there. But I feel you should have put some better games on there before you added that on. As you say, where's Tomb Raider? I can't even. Tomb Raider's not even on it. Which I'm looking at.
I thought it was.
I think some of the best ones on there would be like Final Fantasy 7, the original Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3.
Yeah, it's got Tekken 2 on, but not Tekken 1 or Tekken 3. It's got Tekken 2.
Oh, this one I'm looking at from Mankind says Tekken 3 is on it.
Oh, unless I'm getting that wrong.
It's Tekken 3.
Oh, it is Tekken 3. I thought it was Tekken 2. I don't know.
Tekken 2 is on the PS Plus. Is it on the PS Plus stuff, or is that just original Tekken?
I had no idea. I got Tekken 3 on PlayStation anyway, so it doesn't massively bother me.
See, here's another thing where they dropped the ball. They've got Wild Arms, which admittedly is a fantastic RPG, but not Wild Arms 2. There's a golden opportunity to put that on there because that was never released in the UK. That's an RPG I've never played. You could have so easily done that, and they didn't.
I mean, if I was to play anything off here, I think the one that probably most appeals to me might be also Rayman, because I've always been meaning to complete that game.
Oh, good luck.
So hard.
Yeah, but again, some of the games that are on here have already been remastered. You can buy Final Fantasy 7 pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Resident Evil.
Most of the classic games on that are PlayStation games have all been remastered. So it's well, what, yeah.
I think what would make it probably a more worthwhile purchase is if you could buy the mini console itself, but buy like, the equivalent of discs or cartridges, which will have like a list of preset games like from like back in the day, because obviously now disc technology is much better than what it was 20 years ago, so you could save much more on a disc, like be it they release here's a game with 20 games on it, maybe £30, but at least it sort of opens it up just to more things, because ultimately Sony can make more money out of that. There'll be more games available, all of it HDMI available, but I guess they don't, because they're also missing the plot for when it comes to the PS Plus, because they're saying like all this is our classics catalog, but how much a lot of them are actual classics? Most of them just seem to be PS3 games to me. Like if they want to release the classics, actually release classics, not what they deem to be classics, but what the population considers classics.
Yeah, or like you say, just like do a little expansion things for the PS1. Sodding a little memory card. Do a little memory card shape thing. Like
memory card things. That'd be so cool, because like USB technology now is so good. So like imagine like memory cards but USB technology, and then that would be nostalgia.
It's got 2 on there. You could just do little cards, like another 20 games on each, and because you got 2 memory card slots at the front of the PlayStation, you could just whack another 2 and you could have like add 40 games, or do so many memory cards. It's like release them for, I don't know, 10, 15 quid each. Do like 4 or 5 different sets of like with 20 games on each one. Swap them around.
It's like
if they did that, I'd be more inclined to buy it.
It's like
I would too.
Yeah, it's like the SNES Mini. It had like Earthbound, for example, and it I think it was like the first time it was out in like Europe, for example. But then PlayStation Mini, it's like, it has a weird selection of most of those games. Either you can just play anyway. I don't know if there's any ones that were quite rare, but I don't know. I remember looking at the list and I was just like, it just seems like a strange list. And then I think I followed like a PlayStation channel at the time. They were like, oh, we're all going to get it. And I was just like, it just seems like a waste of money. And then obviously the reviews were really poor as well. So that didn't really help either.
See, it's nice of them doing like the minis that they've done so far, as price gouging as they are. But what they really need is actual minis of consoles that are hard to emulate already. Like we could really do like a Sega Saturn mini or an N64 mini, games that are just hard to get running in the first place.
I think Nintendo's answer to Nintendo 64 is their Nintendo 64 expansion pack.
Yeah, but that's bollocks. I want like the actual physical thing.
I want the janky controller.
Yeah,
I don't.
I've hooked up my N64, just going slightly off topic, because I've got my little SCART converter. One of my mates bought me a PS2 so I could stream it, which is insane of him. But I thought, you know what? I don't see any reason why this wouldn't work on my original N64, and it bloody well does. So I started going through all my old games and seeing if they all work. And surprisingly, all of them do. Even more surprisingly, my third-party memory card, which I've got in the back of it, still works. Still has all my saved game data on from like 20 years ago. I couldn't believe that. It's like, wow, it's remember my saves. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been well looked after, but you think over 20 years it'll just sort of stop working. But no, well, it's a charm. Again, this is the thing though. Like I say, like these games are notoriously hard to emulate and to get working through like in like non-first party ways. So I'm sure a mini N64, a mini Sega Saturn will sell like hotcakes. Release it, but again, they'll need like the good library. We know hand on heart, so they do it. They'll just release like the same games again. Oh, it comes with Mario 64. It's like, I know it comes with Mario 64. You re-released that like a year ago and made it limited. And I bet you made it limited so you could re-release it again, you bastard.
Well, they said that they're going to do an N64 mini, or is that still speculation?
I think that's a speculation, Michael. Yeah. I don't think they've made any official announcements.
There's the NES Mini and SNES Mini and the PlayStation Mini. I see the Sega megadrive Mini. I don't know what else. Who knows? In a couple of years it'd be PlayStation 2 Mini. Who knows?
Yeah, see, that would be good as well. That's not impossible to emulate, but it's more of a pain. Especially if you're streaming like us, because if you like, for the most part, a lot of people can get these emulations up and running just fine. But because it requires so much CPU, when you go to stream, it pretty much, if not bricks your system, they just run like arse, makes them unplayable. I don't know if you've tried it, Brandon, but it works.
Tried Game Boy stuff.
Yeah, like I say, it works. Stuff like Game Boy stuff and like the stuff that Audi's out, like the SNES and the Mega Drive, not a problem. Stream them easy peasy, which just makes me think, like, why are they releasing these when we want the stuff that's hard to do? But that's just from my perspective. I will probably quite happily shell out, say, like £100 for an N64 Mini if it had the games on that I wanted to play. Yeah, I'll actually shell out for that just because I know it's notorious to get hold of.
I'm still like half tempted to get a Super Nintendo Mini. I'm still half tempted, but I don't know. It's
Have
just
a look, see what they're currently going for.
not too much. Still over 100, but it's not loads. It's not as much as you think. I think it's like 130 maybe. Last time I checked, I could be completely wrong, and I probably am.
Well, you went for a shot, Dan, because I've just gone onto Amazon, reputable site.
Yeah.
First result that comes up, £280.
Yeah, it was a lot cheaper last time I checked.
In fact, the NES Mini is £220. It's because they released them as such limited stock, so they've just been price gouged and then just didn't release any more. Even the ones they're looking at say only one in stock, only two in stock. Yeah, emulate it.
But you got, like, even on
Super Mario World's great, but I wouldn't say it's worth £280.
Like, you get a good amount of games. You get like Earthbound, you got Super Punch Out, Contra 3, or Link to the Past,
which is the best Zelda.
Kirby Superstar. It went off it, for fuck's sake. But you basically get what you think you should get on a SNES. Oh, you got Super Mario RPG as well,
Apart from all the ones that aren't on there. You got Mega Man X. Yeah, that's great. Where's Mega Man X 2? Where's Mega Man 7? That's exclusive to it. Wait, the library on the SNES is massive anyway, so you're never going to be happy. Like,
that's the same with everything.
Super Mario World, but what it really needed was the Mario All-Stars as well. In fact, they did a cartridge of Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. Why isn't that the version on there?
I don't know.
Oh, well, it's got Super Metroid on there, so all's well, I guess. Super Metroid's worth £280. Easy.
Well, unless there's anything else, I think that's episode 45.
Yeah. So, anyone at home, have you played the Mini? Are you willing to shell out for one? Do you think they're a rip-off? I think they're a rip-off, but at the same time, I do enjoy using them. Mainly because I just play my mates.
Oh.
The moral of the story is, have friends with things that you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fair, someone messaged me the other day saying, I want to have a few gaming sessions with you. What games do you have on your PC? And I was like, oh. And I sent them my collection, my Steam library, and they were like, fucking hell, you have a massive Steam library. I'm like, yeah, I've been buying games on this account for years. And then he didn't even tell me what games he had to play multiplayer on. So I don't even know what I can play with him on.
Yeah, because I mostly play single-player games. It's like when a mate comes around, it's like, oh, your game library is huge. We've got plenty of games you can play. It's like, yeah, we have. When we get the multiplayer ones. Right, I've got 2.
To be fair, something I found out, Fire Emblem Engage actually has multiplayer, which is really weird.
Strange genre to have that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
I suppose you could do like online skirmishes, so that would work.
Well, I think what it is where you do like a skirmish where it's kind of like a pick up and play. So you do a couple of turns, and then it goes to the other person. They do a couple of turns, and then it goes back to you. It's kind of a bit weird like that. But then I think you can do one where you kind of go against each other as well. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Very strange.
That's
reminded me actually. Some of the things on like the Mega Drive Mini that says the 2-player aren't really 2-player because it's that old trope of you take it in turns, like player 1, then you die, and it's like player 2. It's like, that's not really 2-player, is it? You may as well just pass the controller between lives. It's a lie.
Well, that will be episode 45. You know what you can do? Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify. Where else can we listen to? Audible, Apple Podcasts.
Or you
Amazon.
Can listen to it where you're currently listening to this right now.
That is true. Yeah. Continue. Go on Spotify. Give us 5 stars. Wherever else, give us review 5 stars, whatever. And yeah, you will hear us in 2 weeks.
Indeed, you do.
That's bye-byes.
That's your bye-byes. Next episode's the live one.
I'm about to say, yes. Yeah, well, yeah, the day this episode drops, we're doing a live episode.
And it'll be over at twitch.tv/SpankyRambles, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. approximately.
And if you miss it, it'll be out 2 weeks after.
Yeah. Or you could just watch the VOD on my channel over and over again.
Yeah, that's true, but it will be more streamlined after I edit it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to put up with my face.
What did you say, Brandon?
It's going to be the VOD you'll see on Spanky's Twitch channel is going to be like just the uncut juice.
The uncut juice. Live and raw with pineapple.
No, get that out.
Yeah. I'm literally just going to buy a pineapple and just leave it in the background for the entire thing just to annoy you.
All right, I just won't watch.
You don't have to.
I know, that's fair.
You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here listening to us. Be safe, and you'll hear us soon. Bye.
Bye.